Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Antidote here, and today we got a brand new video for you. Today we're going to be doing top 10 horror films. They're going to be my personal favorites, and hopefully you guys would like them too, just in time for Halloween. So let's get right into it. At number 10, we have Grave Encounters. Think of Paranormal Activity, but at a psychiatric hospital. Don't want to spoil too much, but you have a group of people that are ghost hunters who end up at a psychiatric hospital that is actually haunted. And it's a anthology type of film, so you can expect a sequel, and I believe there is a third film, but I'll edit this video to show proof of that. At number 9, we have it is a slow burn film based in the 1600s, New England. There's a lot of famine, a lot of the main issues that happen in the early 1600s. But this one has a twist, as the story or the title says. The witch is an outside influence that is seemingly unknown to the family, but the witch, she kind of has a pool. Think of like a black hole. The forest there is kind of like the black hole, and it's kind of like drawing everything into it. Everything's dying around it. There's a young girl that is very much affected by the witch's power. You never actually see the witch, which is kind of the scary part, is kind of like the unknown. But the music, the tone, the gray tone of the New England sky, just always cloudy. There's really never any light to the movie. You kind of feel like despair from the get-go. It's very dramatic, and it's very enveloping to the viewer. You kind of just immersed into the setting right from the get-go. At number 8, we have The Possession of Michael King. It's one of my personal favorites. It actually was one of those movies that scared me into believing in God a little bit more. It made me closer to God. This movie has a guy that is a atheist, and he's out to prove to the world that angels, demons, supernatural essentially isn't real. And what better way to do that than inviting such spirits, let's say evil spirits, into himself. And he thinks nothing will happen, and let's just say something happens. It's a pretty good movie. I liked it. I feel like it's one of those underrated movies that never really got talked about. We have more of those on this list, so let's keep going. At number 7, we have Green Inferno. This movie was actually banned in movie theaters because of how gory it is. And yes, I brought gore into the equation because this movie is something that people will like. Some people like gore. And pretty much the synopsis of this movie, without spoiling too much, is a group of kids, college kids, out to save the rainforest, crash into the Amazon forest, and they are greeted by some friendly indigenous tribe members. So, if I say any more, I'm pretty much spoiling the movie. But the gore in this movie, the amount of craziness that happens in this movie, will keep you at the edge of your seat, biting on your nails every step of the way. At number 6, we have Bone Tomahawk. This movie is a gory movie. So again, if you love gore and you liked Green Inferno, buckle up, because you're heading out west with Bone Tomahawk. This movie has Kurt Russell. He was in Tombstone. He played Wyatt Earp. So I don't know if you like westerns and Indians, cowboys, Indians, that whole theme. This movie is that and then some. This is probably the goriest Cowboys versus Indians movie show you've ever seen. You got a group of guys in a pretty much generic setting where they have to go out and save a group of people, but these Indians are not your normal Indians. We're not talking aliens or anything like that. We're just talking some cutthroat savages. This movie is, I want to say, about an hour and a half long, but this movie will have you thinking about what you saw through the night and probably for the next few days. At number 5, we have Trick or Treat. I don't want to, keep y'all guys like super terrified of the list of movies I got you so far. So this time we have a kind of a comedic horror film called Trick or Treat. It's another anthology film. It's pretty much some dude that has a pumpkin head. He's a spirit. You have these rules that you need to follow, and if you don't follow them, you're pretty much screwed. You're dead. And he goes around, he or she, or call it, pretty much, is pretty ruthless. It doesn't matter if you're a serial killer or not. If you don't follow these rules, you're gonna die. And this movie has some lackluster comedy, but the movie is it's pretty scary. At number 4, we have The Wailing. This movie is a slow burn film, but the payoff at the end is insanely good. It's actually a Korean film, so I don't want to, keep going with the whole, English speaking narrative or whatnot. But The Wailing, I promise you, it has such a great payoff at the end. The amount of twists, the story, you follow the story. You think it's somebody, but it's like you've been triple crossed. Not double crossed, but triple crossed into believing a certain person was the antagonist. But I'm telling you, this movie is a masterpiece. It's mind-blowingly good. It's actually one of the first movies that I got into that was a foreign horror film, and I was not disappointed. So if you can handle the slow burn and the rising climax, or the rising action, if you will, to get to the point of the movie and see who the actual antagonist is, I promise you, you will not be disappointed with this movie at all. At number 3, we have The Omen. This movie has brought me closer to God more than any other movie. I'm not talking about the recent Omen. I'm talking about the 1976 Omen. This movie has a Antichrist, which is a child, which is portrayed as the child, and he's up to no good. The parents kind of have a ominous feel about their son, but they're not too sure. But the environment that the child's in, the staff, certain animals have some type of satanic support for the child, which everyone knows in the story. Everyone outside looking into the movie pretty much knows what's going on, but you're just waiting for the parents to finally understand what's going on with their kid. And I think the whole suspense in between the different characters that come inside the story and die trying to either protect the kid or kill the kid is something that most people will find afraid, because what the kid's potential for humanity is. At number 2, we have VHS. One of my personal favorites that I accidentally stumbled upon. I think most people will like it as well, because there's a little bit of everything. It's an anthological film that has multiple films after it, including some spin-offs with some of the creatures that you're going to see within the movie. You just gotta look up look it up on Google probably, because the names are not the same, but it's within the same universe. I won't say that they're just as good, but it's worth a watch if you actually like VHS. The movie revolves around some delinquents that stumble upon a snuff film, and they are in for a wild night of torture, if you will. And these tapes have different supernatural entities to each one, and the realism to each one is definitely an experience that you can put yourself into those shoes where the people are affected by these random acts of violence. Can't believe I have to talk about this one again. But at number 1, we have Hereditary. This movie received little to no promotions. I understand now it has like millions of views on YouTube, just the trailer. But the crazy part was when I first watched it at a theater, there was hardly anybody in there. There was maybe 1 or 2 people watching it. And this was like opening weekend. So, yeah, I feel like this movie is very well under promoted. And I think you should go see it. I think that this is the October horror film, Spooktober film that you need to watch. Why? It is very well paced. The payoff at the end, forget all the other movies. This one has a very good payoff that leaves you more shocked and horrified with the ending, which is open-ended, but that open ending is something that you can infer like catastrophe for everybody. Yeah, this movie was mind-blowingly good. The cast, if the cast wasn't so good as well, I feel like every single character within the movie was like, it was just a masterpiece. They did a very good job acting. They were not rigid with their acting at all. They took their role very seriously, all the way up to the supporting cast, because the supporting cast as well, they made it to where the surrealism of the viewer watching the film felt like they were there as well. And I feel like some people might have an existential crisis after watching this movie. I'm going to be straight up. I don't want to spoil too much, but let's just think of supernatural and religion, and you throw those together and you get this movie. Well, this was my top 10 horror films. I haven't seen any good horror films of late, so I kind of took some horror films that I've seen throughout the years and compiled a list that did not receive that much spotlight. Other than that, guys, I hope y'all have a good one. Catch you later.